have it on record. So the last time I saw you, you were in 5th grade, and you are now?
Oh God. Number-wise, I guess it's 16th grade, but I'm a senior in college.
I was gonna say how old you are now.
Oh, I'm 21 now.
Yes, yeah, so
almost 22.
No longer 10 for sure.
No longer 10.
So we are talking.
Same height.
Say that again.
Still about the same height, probably. Honestly.
No, that's me too. I've been the same height since I was like 7. Yeah. So as you know, I'm trying to touch base with former students to talk about things that they never got to really explore or dive into while they were in school, whether with me or just throughout your experience. So what is it that you're going to be talking to us about?
So we're going to talk today about public speaking.
Okay, so go ahead. Let's see what you have to say about public speaking. Why do you think it's so important for us to learn?
I think that in my experience, both as a student and interacting with people, whether it's in school or in jobs that I've had or in extracurricular activities that I've done, every single person has to have some component of public speaking that they've had to do. Mm-hmm. And I know I have had professors in college that I think honestly still need work on public speaking skills. I have peers in my sorority or in my classes that still don't want to raise their hand or don't want to, they're too scared to give their opinion, almost not even because they think their opinion's wrong, but because they don't think that they can present it as well. And I think it probably all links back to some component of social anxiety that everyone to a degree has. I think I might have, just my personality, I've never kind of been shy about sharing my feelings, whether they've been supported or not when I say them, which is definitely probably because of my parents and my sister. They're the same way. But I've just had so many different experiences where I've just noticed that my ability to feel comfortable with public speaking has it's let me have better relationships with teachers because I'm not afraid to ask questions during class or go to office hours, or during presentations that are graded based on your presentation skills. I'll do better than people even in my own group that do the same material that I do, just because I kind of had that natural like towards it. And I think that the skills necessary to either get people a little more used to it or maybe even get people to like it can be built into curriculum starting at a younger age, because I think the first time I ever did something really public speaking wise was, I think I did a play once in a 3rd grade class, and then I think I did a debate in 6th grade, but it was more about the material we were learning more so than the entire unit being about public speaking. So I think it kind of be built into some way in that way.
So you do believe that public speaking is something that can be taught and trained at a young age?
Yes. I know I sent you a couple articles. I know it was a really long time ago when I sent them, but I just quickly skimmed through them. Mm-hmm. And it says it's one of those things where everything gets better with practice. And it's kind of I used to play the piano when I was younger, and we would have a recital at the end of the season in the winter and in this beginning of summer. And I would practice my recital piece over and over and over again because I would get performance anxiety. It's the same thing with musicians. So I think there's kind of performance anxiety and public speaking are kind of analogous, where it's something that you're presenting something of your own skill to the public. And if you don't kind of practice that more and more, then you're not going to be as comfortable. So
how do you think that it ties into being prepared, preparedness? I mean, of course, you just use the example of you practice and you practice, you practice. So of course you also must be, you're kind of cut from that cloth where you are motivated to do that. Yeah. So my question is, how do you feel we can, I imagine if someone is more prepared, that will also tackle some of the anxiety.
Yeah.
So how do you think we can motivate kids, particularly who are already still in the process of learning time management and how to plan and how to prepare, or what that even means? So how do you think we can help kids be more prepared so that when and if they do have to speak publicly, they would feel more confident in doing so?
I think a big thing that I've just experience. So I know I've told you about in my college career, I'm very involved in a lot of different things about mentoring. I work for my school's honors program. I'm a mentor in my sorority. I'm a mentor in my major. And like, I do a lot of things mentoring. So, and I even am a tutor too. So I deal a lot of time with people kind of coming to me with their problems and things. And the first thing that I always try to do is really validate their position. So I think no matter where a student is on the scale of they are ready to debate between everyone in their class or they're terrified of raising their hand, I think validating some aspect of what they're doing in the first place is good. Like, it's very brave that you raise your hand, and even if you don't agree with what they're saying or they gave the wrong answer, because I know as a child, raising your hand in math class and saying that your answer's wrong makes you feel horrible. Makes you feel horrible even in college. Or older. I know, it does.
Any age.
Any age. Being told that you're wrong is not fun. So I think that kind of seeing where they come from and validating their position is probably the biggest first step, because, and a lot of time it's also relating to people. So when I was younger and I used to be like a student teacher for my Hebrew school, the way I kind of felt that I connected to the kids the best was I kind of related what they were going through to something that I went through and stuff like that, to being like, you know, when I was your age, I really struggled with this too, but I think you can really improve if you just work on this a little bit more. And any steps are good steps. They don't have to be like, you don't have to go from 0 to 10 in one step. And I think kind of making sure that that's clear in people's minds, that like, this is not, public speaking is something that a lot of people, they are either like innately okay with it or they're not. And I think the people that are innately okay with it is much smaller than the population that is not. But I think that just making sure that they know that this is something that everyone has dealt with at some point in their life, and also stressing how good of a skill it's going to be as you get older, because a lot of the time I think motivation is that kind of problem. And there are some students that are really highly self-motivated and not, but kind of being like, you know, you're going to need this one day. That's going to get in their bed that, oh, maybe I should work on this a little bit more. So I think kind of validation and making kind of like a more intrinsic motivation are kind of a couple of things to get that a little bit better.
What makes a good public speaker?
I think someone who's a good public speaker, first of all, believes what they're saying. It's like you do better in a class that you like more. Right. You'll speak better on a subject that you're more confident in and more confident in yourself about. Right. So that's why it's kind of funny these days that politicians are apparently such good public speakers, when like we don't know if they really believe everything they're saying. Yeah. But they probably have a lot of practice. Confidence is key. And as someone who has dealt and still deals with a lot of self-esteem issues with my own intelligence, with my own capabilities, I think that just putting your energy into something, even if it's for a short amount of time, like you have to give a 1-minute speech on why you think you should hold this position or something, just really kind of trying to channel all of your positive energy into that one thing. And it sounds very like guru-ish, which I'm not trying it to be, but it is true. The more kind of good that you can feel about something, the better it's going to be. And most of the public speaking situations that I've been in, it's either about like expressing an opinion, or I've had to present, as someone who's a biology major, I've had to present a lot of research, and it's about kind of knowing your stuff, like reviewing things. And I got to present at this national conference this summer, and it was very scary because it was a lot of information, and I was definitely one of the only few undergraduates presenting, but it was kind of just like, I worked hard to be here. I know that I am capable of doing this. So I think public speaking a lot comes from confidence. I think it also kind of, you have to let go of fear a little bit, which kind of ties into confidence, because there's always like that trick of like, imagine everyone in your underwear or whatever, which I never did, because I
never did that either.
I guess that would make me more uncomfortable. So yes. But I kind of think about just like, you know, everyone is wrong at some point in their life. Yes. I'm not always right, as much as I like to believe that I'm always right. I'm not always right. And especially in a field of science, where science is truly about finding something and then someone else will eventually disprove you. Like, I've kind of let go a little bit of I'm always right.
Yeah.
And I just try to believe in myself as much as I can.
I do think that there's something to be said about practicing failure and making it comfortable for kids in particular to be comfortable with failing and being wrong. And I do think that you touched on something. You mentioned self-esteem, your own, and just in general as well. And I do think ultimately, because even of course, I'm a grown adult professional, and even in my setting where I have to speak, and I have to speak in front of other adults very often, particularly in leadership roles or for a club or whatever it may be, and I get, even till this day, I'll get a little bit nervous. I can therefore say, I think ultimately what gets me through is, one, I think feeling fairly comfortable in my skin, in that even if someone's going to think the worst thing of me, do I think that of me? And I do not. So that helps. And then the other being, it's almost like fake it till you make it kind of thing.
Oh, I 100%
you're acting a little bit, right? And so
100%.
that gives you almost like fake confidence, which in a way kind of gets you through it. Do you experience that?
Oh, I 100% fake it till I make it. A lot of the time people come to me and they're like, wow, you like really have your life together. And I've been told by people that I'm like they look to me as kind of like a peer mentor. Like, this one girl in my lab like literally told me that I'm like a peer idol of hers, and I was like, stop, because I'm like, stop it, please, I don't like that. It's like so flattering, but I've struggled with confidence in myself and self-esteem, especially in school, because I know I'm fine with social things. I'm a very social person. That's never really been a problem for me. But I've been told, you, as someone who was in AI and all E classes and all honors and AP classes, a very competitive environment, like, it's in more cases than not, it's so competitive that it drives students a lot to feeling like I have to be the best or I'm not the best.
So inadequate.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm like very grateful for it because I think it pushed me a lot. But at the same time, I just think that you're trying to be the best so hard that I feel like sometimes you like stop believing it just because you're like trying to get something that's like not really real. And it's something that I learned a lot. I really learned it in college, which is unfortunate for all of the elementary school girls that might be listening to this. It really is something that you like, even in high school. I was so competitive in high school, and I'm still competitive now, but I feel like I'm more competitive with myself than I am with other people, because
what is the thing that you think is not real?
I think that there's always like something that I kind of told myself that really got me through things is there's always going to be someone better than you. You're never going to be the best at anything. There's always someone who's going to be better than you in some capacity. And letting go of that kind of, and like you can be tied to public speaking because you're not trying to be the best public speaker in the world. And I think in this age, I think we're past a little bit of, if you stutter while you're speaking, everyone in the class is going to laugh at you.
Right.
I don't think I've experienced that. Even thinking back to elementary school, I don't think I ever really experienced that.
Right. It's usually in our own head, like much else in life. It's usually our own fear of what we think people are thinking.
Yeah. I think that kind of, that's what I tell like my mentees and stuff too. It's like accepting that the only person that you're really competing against is your own self trying to hold you back with things. Will let go of a lot of that fear and a lot of that insecurity, because so many problems, whether it's stuttering through speech and public speaking, or being scared of talking in front of people, or not feeling confident in your own thoughts and feelings, is insecurity.
Yep.
And I think that kind of, it can even be, if someone's teaching public speaking skills, I think one of the biggest things that you can talk about first is that no one's going to succeed right off the bat. And if someone does, then applaud them when they're done. You don't have to compare yourself to them as much, because as long as you're doing as well that you feel okay with yourself, then that's how they should be validated. And I think
so. It's almost like a mini like battle with yourself anytime you stand up to speak publicly, and you want to know that you have instilled certain skills, or you have certain skills in your back pocket to pull out so that you can overcome that mini battle in that moment.
Yeah, 100%.
What about cultural considerations? I think there's several cultures that, don't really promote speaking, outwardly or speaking up, and they kind of have a different type of confidence or a different way of communicating. So how do you address maybe when there's students, because I'm thinking of some of my students who might be not just shy, but culturally it's not in their nature to, be as outspoken, whereas I think it's a very American concept, which is great, right? To speak up, you stand up for yourself, but like, what about those cultural considerations?
I think that there are so many different ways that public speaking can kind of be quantified or qualified. You can have a debate and have teams versus teams, and that's probably the most outspoken you'll get a class. Like it's assigned class one side versus the other, and you will always have a very fun class. I did like debates in my Latin class when I was in middle school, and it was very, very fun. But public speaking can also be asking someone to go up to the board and do a math problem to explain their thought process. It doesn't always have to be expressing kind of like an opinion that's based in like language art skills. It can be in science, it can be in math, which are maybe the more shy people that don't really feel confident in their own opinions or their own selves can be a little more confident in, like, you're always going to get, like, there's math and science. Typically there's one answer, especially if it's like in math-based science. And so if they know that their answer is right and they know they did it right, asking someone to explain their thought process, or like, what theorem did you use here, or what property is this, and getting them to say that aloud or write an example up on the board can be just as powerful as a tool of public speaking as asking someone to explain their opinion in a 1-minute speech. So I think that might be able to bridge it a little bit more.
So differentiating public speaking. And I really like that you said that, because you're right. And I don't think most people think of that when they think of public speaking. They think of one person standing in front of a room giving a speech. And that might be the nature of our media. And maybe that's how that's why we have that association. But you're right. It can come in many different forms.
And in that way too, the students are going to learn better, because like, I was told like I had to take a class when I was learning to be a tutor, and it was like, you learn better by teaching things. Yes. So when I was a tutor, and I would give a chemistry problem to one of my tutees, and I'd say, okay, here's what we have. What do we do with this? What do you think we should do? Asking them questions and making them think out loud and explain something to me is going to get them to learn it better anyway. So not only is it a practice in public speaking, but it's also getting them more comfortable with the material before like a test or a quiz or something.
Right. So let's say top 3 tips for public speaking, if you had to just narrow it down.
Okay. So practice as much as you can. Practice where you don't even have to get to the point of memorization, even though memorizing will help a little bit because you can kind of really focus yourself. Confidence, even just telling yourself, you're like, I got this. You could do like the Superwoman pose or whatever that people do before things. Yeah. I did that before I took the MCAT. So like it happens. And honestly, just don't think about anything else.
Focus.
Don't think about the people that you're talking to. Don't think about the teacher. Don't think about the grade. Just kind of put yourself in that situation as much as you can. Isolate it, and you'll realize that all you're really doing is just talking, which everyone does, whether you're shy or not. We all talk. This is just a little bit louder and a little bit more composed.
I love that. A little bit louder, a little bit more composed. That should be a bumper sticker.
Maybe.
I like it. Are you going to make t-shirts? You should make t-shirts.
If I had the money, maybe I will.
I think this is great. I think this is short and sweet, and I think the kids are going to really kind of connect to what you were explaining. So I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Was there anything else you wanted to add?
I would just say, like, whether you're a science major or you're an English major or you're a math major, like whatever you end up liking or doing when you're older, I realize if this gets shown to a lot of younger kids, they really don't have to think about that for another like 10 years. But whatever you do in life, you're going to need public speaking. And so getting a little bit more comfortable in it and if any teachers see this, because I'm assuming you're going to send this to your teacher friends. Yeah. If any teachers see this, as a student in a very rigorous path up to high school and also in college, I really think, even though I'm comfortable with, I know people from my town that really would have benefited from this earlier. So I really think it should be considered as something built into younger curriculum.
I definitely think that's a good point, and we're going to definitely consider that. I really appreciate your time, Ariel, and hopefully I'll see you soon. If
Yes,
not, I'll
hopefully you
talk to you
will.
then.
Always, yes.
Yes, thank you. Good luck with the rest of your, I guess you're finishing up now, right, this semester?
Yeah, I'm like halfway through the semester, midterms. So much fun.
Okay, well, good luck. I'm sure you're going to
Thank
do
you.
so well. And
Thank
obviously
you.
keep in touch, please.
Yep. All
All
right,
right.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.